Welcome back to Stratagames. I'm Andrew, and we are upgrading the preconstructed Adventures in the Forgotten Realms commander decks. Today we're talking about Vrondiss, Rage of Ancients, who costs 3 red-green for a 5/4 Dragon Barbarian with, and Rage. Whenever Vrondiss, Rage of Ancients, is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green Dragon Spirit creature token with. When this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. And Vrondiss has, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, you may have Vrondiss deal 1 damage to itself. So anytime you roll a die, boom, instant 5/4. So clearly, you want to build this deck around rolling dice and dealing damage to Vrondiss, then swinging in with a huge army of Dragon Spirits, right? Well, the preconstructed deck list does this a little. It gives us Rile and Outpost Siege to damage Vrondiss directly, and Maddening Hex and Chaos Dragon to do it via dice roll. But oddly, this deck focuses far less on Vrondiss's abilities and far more on his creature type. It features 7 cards that care about Dragon Tribal and 13 creatures that appear to serve little purpose to Vrondiss's themes other than the fact that they are, or produce, dragons. Now don't get me wrong, dragons are awesome, and Dragon Tribal decks can be a whole lot of fun. But if I'm building a Dragon Tribal deck, I'm probably going to choose a commander that cares about dragons. And conversely, if I'm playing Vrondiss as my commander, I really want to focus on hurting him. So if you want to play this as a Dragon Tribal deck, great. You can replace Vrondiss with a Tarka, maybe cut some of the self-damage and dice rolling stuff for more Dragon Tribal cards and sneak attack effects, and you'll have a really fun deck. But I'm here to upgrade Vrondiss, so I don't want most of these cards. The only 3 we're keeping are a Tarka, Scourge of Valkis, and Spit Flame, because they still work really well with Vrondiss and his spirit guides. Okay, so with all that out of the way, what do we have left? For dice rolling, I already mentioned Maddening Hex and Chaos Dragon. These 2 are great because they let you roll repeatedly with Vrondiss. Now every instance of damage turns into a 5/4 token, so we want as many instances as possible. For that reason, we want to focus on repeatable damage, and by extension of his second ability, repeatable dice rolling. Neverwinter Hydra and Earth Cult Elemental don't quite fit the bill, only rolling dice once and not really doing much else worthwhile, so let's cut these. Lastly, Berserker's Frenzy seems decent. It only rolls once, but you do have advantage on the roll, and even if you fail, you can force a bunch of creatures to block your 5/4 tokens who would have died when they dealt damage anyhow. In addition to dice rolling, we want ways to damage Vrondiss directly. We have a few board wipes, all in the form of damage. Shivan Hellkite is amazing, dealing 1 damage to any target for just 2 mana, any number of times. And lastly, there's Warstorm Surge, which you won't often use to hit Vrondiss, but you can kill just about anything with it, and there are some sweet combos. All of these function as excellent removal and are joined by Return to Nature, Beast Within, and Druid of Purification, which help you deal with a wide variety of permanents. Next, every deck needs card draw, and this one comes with a good amount. Colossal Majesty, Garruk's Uprising, Rishkar's Expertise, Dragonborn Champion, and Return of the Wild Speaker pay you off for playing big creatures, with the last one doubling as an overrun effect when your board is full. Shamanic Revelation draws for each creature you control, which goes great with your Dragon Spirits, and Skyline Despot declares you Monarch, at least until someone steals your crown. Once again, these are all pretty great options, and I don't want to cut any of them. Moving on to Ramp, this deck comes with a standard artifact and spells package. The non-standard picks include Dragon's Hoard, which should draw you plenty of cards if you can go off with Vrondiss, and Component Pouch, which I will finally decline to cut, because even though it's inefficient ramp, it does provide consistent dice rolling. The cards I do want to cut here are Explore, it's fine but I'd prefer like a Farseek, and Wild Endeavor because it's inefficient on both the ramp and token spectrums, and it only rolls dice once. And as always, there's a group of cards that don't quite fit a specific category, and as always, we're cutting most of them. Decree of Savagery is just a lot of mana to pay to pump creatures that won't be sticking around very long. Indomitable Might can give Vrondiss more toughness, but Wolfguard doubles your attack triggers, which Vrondiss doesn't have. Bag of Tricks works better with the Dragon Tribal theme, and Sword of Hours is repeatable dice rolling, but it's an equipment and the creature it's equipped to has to deal damage, which is a pretty vulnerable line of play. The cards from this category that I do like are Anger and Barbarian class because they can give your 5/4 tokens haste, and gratuitous violence because it doubles their damage output. Okay, that leaves us 27 slots to fill. Fortunately, I have no shortage of ideas. First, I want to supplement our ramp. Kodama's Reach, Sakura Tribe Elder, and the aforementioned Farseek are all generically good, and Ranging Raptors is excellent in a deck with so many ways to hurt its own creatures. In a similar vein, Ripjaw Raptor gives us a new way to draw cards, while Elemental Bond and Greater Good turn our dragon tokens into card advantage. Now we want a few more ways to sling damage. Pyrohemia gives you perfect control over your Vrondiss triggers, and can hurt your opponents and their creatures as well. Delina lets you roll dice, copy Vrondiss, and then potentially keep rolling, which could increase your token production exponentially. And Brash Taunter can either damage Vrondiss, or be another outlet for all your damage, killing your opponents in the process. Parallel Lives doubles all your tokens. Udfara Hellkite lets them all leave behind a 6/6 flyer when they attack. And Polyraptor gives you a second copy of your commander, except its tokens don't sacrifice themselves. Okay, so now we've come to the infinite combo part of the video. It goes like this. Step 1. Make Vrondiss indestructible. Some great options for this include Anara, Darksteel Plate, Eldrazi Monument, Spearbreaker Behemoth, and Tyrite Sanctum. Step 2. Deal infinite damage. Once Vrondiss is indestructible, you can hurt him as badly as you want. He'll never die, letting you deal him even more damage. While dealing infinite damage sounds difficult, it gets a lot easier because Vrondiss provides half the loop. Whenever he takes damage, he creates a creature token. So, we just need a way to turn creature tokens into damage. Goblin Bombardment or Blasting Station let you sacrifice a creature to deal 1 damage. Blasting Station does have to tap for the privilege, but it untaps whenever Vrondiss makes a new creature, so either of these options can be done any number of times. Alternatively, Terror of the Peaks or Where Ancients Tread deal damage to any target whenever a creature enters the battlefield. Warstorm Surge or Dragon Tempest do the same thing, but note that they make the creature itself deal the damage, which will cause our Dragon Spirit buddies to sacrifice themselves. Blazing Sunsteel is a third option, allowing Vrondiss to deal damage to himself when he takes damage, and then deal damage because he took damage, etc., creating a dragon token each time. Step 3. Profit. Now that you have a closed loop, you need to find a way to turn it into a win. All of the Step 2 options give you infinite creatures entering the battlefield, which is lethal in combination with Impact Tremors, Perforos, God of the Forge, or a second copy of one of your damage dealers. Alternatively, all of those options also deal infinite damage to Vrondiss, which is lethal if he is also equipped with a Fiend Lash. And about half of the Step 2 options leave you with infinite creatures on the board, which can be lethal when they attack next turn, or you can give them haste with Fires of Yavimaya, Anger, or Barbarian class. There are a lot of permutations of these combos, and I don't have time to address them all, but hopefully this was a clear explanation. Now, I know that not everyone is interested in infinite combos, especially considering that many of these combo pieces cost a decent chunk of money. So, I'll be leaving links to 2 deck lists in the description, one that focuses on these combos, and one that finds a more natural way to win the game. But I can't go through that second deck list here because I'm all out of time. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If so, you can help me by remembering to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and let us know in the comments how you would change this deck.